You've undoubtedly heard of Tahiti and probably have visions of a lush tropical paradise. But where exactly is it and why would you want to go there? I'm Bob Bradley with the Pampered Cruiser, and if you're looking to book a trip to Tahiti or really anywhere else on a small ship, ocean, riverboat, or expedition cruise line, then we'd love to help you out. We know the cruise lines and the destinations very well, and we can usually get you additional amenities not available on direct bookings. Also, visit our website at www.pamperedcruiser.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter that features informative articles along with cruise and package land vacation travel opportunities. In this video, I'll show the port stops we visited on our trip to French Polynesia, and we'll talk about where Tahiti is, the things you can do there, whether to see it by ship or land, and the best time to go. Let's start with a little bit of geography. Tahiti is literally in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's almost exactly halfway between Hawaii and New Zealand, and approximately halfway between South America and Australia. In logistic terms, it's about a 7.5-hour flight from LA or San Francisco, and about 2 hours further than going to Hawaii. It's also in the same time zone as Hawaii, making the jet lag minimal, particularly if you're coming off the west coast. Tahiti is the largest island in the territory known as French Polynesia. So much like we sometimes call the Netherlands Holland, the term Tahiti is often used to describe the entire region. Just don't make that mistake in front of one of the locals. You've probably heard of Bora Bora, Moorea, or the Marquesas. These islands, along with Tahiti, are amongst more than 100 islands that make up the territory of French Polynesia. French Polynesia is a semi-autonomous territory of France. They have their own currency, their own flag, they elect their own president, but they also have representation in the French National Parliament in Paris. For the 2024 Paris Olympics, for example, the surfing events were conducted here. To the visitor, French Polynesia looks and feels a lot like Hawaii, with the obvious difference being that the predominant language here is French. Perhaps more pertinent for tourists is that Hawaii gets more visitors in 1 week than Tahiti and French Polynesia get in an entire year. So if you're looking for an uncrowded tropical paradise, this fits the bill. Also, like Hawaii, each of the islands here has its own flavor and distinctiveness, but the things you do and see on these islands are all variations on a theme. So I'll describe our port stops and what we did at those places, but keep in mind you can do any of these outdoor tropical activities anywhere you choose to visit in the French Polynesian Islands. There are outdoor activities for every interest and fitness level, as well as for those wanting to learn more about Polynesian culture. Papeete is the largest settlement in French Polynesia and almost certainly where you'll fly into. It's on the island of Tahiti. It's also the seat of government for French Polynesia, and the presidential palace is in the middle of town. We traveled to Tahiti with a group of Virtuoso travel advisors and were being hosted by Windstar Cruises. And we were invited to a reception at the presidential palace with President Motai Brotherson, complete with local food, Polynesian music, and along with cultural displays. The Papeete city center is about a 15-minute drive from the airport, and once you're there, you can pretty much walk to everything else. The township itself in Papeete is easy to walk, and the waterfront is all public areas with walking and cycling trails. If you need a bank or want to buy any of the tourist essentials, this is the place to do it. The rest of the townships in French Polynesia are quite a bit smaller. Finally, the cruise ship port of Papeete is right in the city center. Many of the hotels are within walking distance, or a very short taxi ride. You can see the island of Moorea from Papeete, so ships calling in there don't have to travel very far. In our case, it was about a 3-hour journey at half speed to get around to the far side of Moorea and anchor for the day. There are also ferries or short plane rides to get between Tahiti and all the other French Polynesian islands. Moorea is well known for its beautiful beaches, rugged volcanic geography, and the tropical fruit plantations. There were a variety of shore excursions available today, and some people took the ring road around the island. It's 37 miles long and takes about an hour. We opted to explore this tropical paradise by e-bike and rode along the seaside for a while and then up to a viewpoint for some incredible vistas. Others chose to explore the island by ATV or 4x4. The islands of French Polynesia are perfectly designed for snorkeling. The protective barrier reefs that encircle the individual islands make the water calm and also provide brilliant coral and habitat for tropical fish. This close to the equator, the water is warm here year-round, between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius or 80 to 84 Fahrenheit. You can snorkel here every day if you want, and there's no competing with thousands of other tourists like you do in Hawaii or many Caribbean locales. And I can tell you, with the possible exception of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, I've never seen such vivid colors and so much sea life. We were drift snorkeling today. Drift means that we were purposely placing ourselves into a gentle current. This is a bit like swimming in a lazy river, but without the nasty chlorine smell, and this one had tropical fish. If you prefer to stay above the waves, you can go sea kayaking, go for a ride in a speedboat, or go out in a jet ski. The ship is docked at Utaroa. This small town is typical in French Polynesia and is the perfect jumping off place for a wide variety of outdoor activities. If you need an ATM, there is one here, and it is one of the only ports in French Polynesia other than Papeete where the ships dock rather than anchor. Our next port stop was less than a mile away. The ship left Utaroa and anchored just off the Raiatea shore, where we enjoyed private access to a tropical atoll, or motu as they are called here. Motu Mahuea is a white coral island surrounded by a lagoon protected by an outer coral reef. It's about the size of 2 football fields with some palm trees for shade and incredible natural scenery from all perspectives. Imagine Gilligan's Island, but with booze. There's great snorkeling here, and as you can see, the beach is incredible. They made us lunch. We had a beach barbecue, fish, burgers, everything you need. Just cleaning up now. See, they didn't spare. We're not going to go hungry just because we're on a desert island. It's not Gilligan's Island. We had a Tahitian Polynesian cultural show a little bit earlier. We have there were kids. It was quite funny. I think some of them are eating here right now, so we'll sneak through and try not to disturb them. If you want ice cream, it comes with Tahitian rum. It's worth having a try. And just because we're on a desert island doesn't mean we can't get a drink or two. So they brought the full bar set up here for us. Get a look at that. At water sports, everybody's out on the kayak right now. But you see, the kayaks are just on their way out right now. So the people are doing snorkeling from here. We can go snorkeling right off the atoll. It's a day in tropical paradise. We're on the Windstar Star Breeze, so there's only about 300 of us on the ship, and the crew did an incredible job of having a full catering and bar setup on the island for us. Bora Bora conjures up all kinds of images of movies and all kinds of things of a tropical paradise, which it certainly is. And when you stop here on a cruise around Tahiti and the French Polynesian Islands, you'll anchor just like we are right offshore here. The big underwater bungalows that you see or that probably associate with this place, they're a little bit around the other side of the island. You can take a taxi to get over to those ones if you want. The main township itself doesn't have a whole lot. There's a few souvenir shops. There's some definitely some pearl shops, some grocery stores. But if you want a real feel for how the locals live, you can certainly wander around here. Not the most pedestrian-friendly place, but certainly well worth a wander. All the tropical activities are available here on Bora Bora, and unlike many of the other stops in French Polynesia, those that wanted to do some shopping found it here at the village of Vaitapi. There's a small local craft market near where you get off the ship, and if you're in the market for some Tahitian pearls, you'll find those here. We're in Bora Bora for 2 days, and on this second night we were invited to another tropical motu. That's twice this week if you're counting. This time for an incredible outdoor dinner. So this is it. We would call it a luau in Hawaii, but this is how they do it in Tahiti. What's going on? Right on. The feature attraction is the Polynesian entertainment with music, dancing, and pyrotechnics. They play with fire here like their ancestors have been doing for centuries, so it feels far more impressive than having seen it elsewhere. The Polynesian people stretch from Hawaii down to New Zealand and from Easter Island to East Asia. To put this in perspective, this Polynesian triangle, as it's called, is about 4.5 times the size of the lower 48 states. That's an awful lot of paddling and dugout canoes, but they did it. If you ever wondered what Hawaii would have been like prior to strip malls and mega resorts, Huahine offers a hint. This small island is remote, sleepy, and tropically beautiful. We decided to explore the tropical pleasures here by e-bike, and we didn't have many cars to compete with. The ship is anchored in Morro Bay, and there really aren't townships on Huahine as much as occasional clusters of homes with a few retail businesses dispersed here and there. One of the questions we often get about Tahiti is whether to go to a land-based resort or visit the islands by ship. If you want to go park yourself on a pristine beach and read books for a week, there's lots of places in French Polynesia to do exactly that. The region's best known for their overwater bungalows, and these are found on several islands. In fact, we decided to spend our first couple of days at an overwater bungalow. If you've seen photos of the hotel rooms over the ocean with tropical fish and coral below, there's a good chance that those pictures were taken here in French Polynesia. These accommodations are never cheap, but it does make you feel like you're living in a James Bond movie. If you choose to go by ship, there are a few advantages. First, you'll get to sample several different islands that all have their own unique flavor. Your logistics will also be quite a bit easier. The international flights all come into Papeete, and that's where the ships dock. Travel to other islands requires connecting a Papeete by either ferry or small plane. The other advantage to doing French Polynesia by cruise ship is that it offers more cost certainty. French Polynesia is an expensive place to visit, and with a cruise, you won't be taken by surprise by the cost of meals and activities to the degree that you are when you're staying at a land resort. There's lots of different opinions about the best time to visit Tahiti and the French Polynesian Islands, but ultimately it is a year-round destination. Much like Hawaii, you should be prepared for rain anytime that you go, but that rain usually only lasts for an hour or so, and then it's back to beautiful tropical weather. April through October generally has less rain, although anytime you're trying to predict weather, there is a high margin of error. Being this close to the equator, the temperature doesn't vary much from month to month, with the normal daily temperatures in the 80s, usually with a tropical breeze. From the United States, there's regular direct air service from LA, San Francisco, Seattle, and Honolulu. There are also flights from New Zealand and Australia, as well as some of the other South Pacific islands. Air routings and carriers change all the time, so it's worth doing a quick search if you're considering a trip down here. If you enjoyed this video, then give us a thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to book a cruise to Tahiti or really any other river, expedition, or small ship ocean cruise destination, then we'd love to help you out. Here's our contact information, and it's also included in the notes below. Thanks for watching.